You know, have you ever felt like you're paying some kind of tax, but one that never shows up on a bank statement? I mean, it's not from the government, there's no bill, and yet you feel it. You feel its weight all the time. Okay, so today we're going to dive into this hidden cost, this thing that's hiding right in plain sight in our everyday lives. Man, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It is that feeling, that little voice in your head that goes, "Ah, I wish I'd known that," or "Wow, I can't believe I missed that." It's a tax you pay in pure frustration, in lost chances, not really in dollars and cents. Well, not at first, anyway. So I've got to ask you, straight up, are you paying this tax? Because here's the thing. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing it absolutely everywhere. And even better, you'll start to realize, hey, maybe I don't have to keep paying it. All right, let's put a name to this feeling, shall we? We're calling it the hidden tax of imperfect attention. And really, what it is, it's the price we pay for living in a world that has just changed way faster than our habits have. You know, the reason this tax is so sneaky is because it's so spread out. It's not one giant disastrous event. It's more like death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? It's that little restocking fee you didn't notice, the tiny detail from a meeting you forgot, that hour you wasted having to redo something. Each one, on its own, just feels like, well, like life. And this is where it gets really interesting when you compare the two. Think about a normal tax. It's pretty straightforward, right? You know who you're paying, you know why. But this hidden tax? Where's the receipt for that? There isn't one. You pay for it with your time, with your stress, and yeah, eventually with your money. And you never, ever get a clear invoice. Okay, so let's get into a real-world example, one we've all been through. Let's talk about the world of contracts and all that fine print. We're going to call this one the reading tax. I mean, for years, decades really, our whole system is kind of run on this unspoken deal. Companies write these super long, super complicated terms of service, and what do? We, the normal humans, just scroll to the bottom and click agree. And look, that's not some kind of moral failure on our part. It's just reality. We only have so much attention to give. And just look at the kind of stuff they bury in there. Automatic renewals that just keep charging you, clauses that mean you can't even take them to court, fees for returning something you don't even want. This isn't just an accident, you know. This is a business model built entirely on the idea that you're not going to read the details. But here's the question that changes the entire game. What if reading all that stuff thoroughly wasn't about discipline anymore? What if you didn't have to be a lawyer or have some kind of superhuman focus just to understand what you're signing? What if technology could just do it for you? Well, guess what? That's the world we live in now. That's the reality. You can literally just take a picture of a contract or copy-paste some text and ask a super simple question. Just type, "Hey, what are the gotchas in here?" Or "What are the risks?" And just like that, poof, the whole information advantage just flips. And that exact moment, that little jolt you feel when you go, "Wait a minute, that's what I agreed to?" That is the sensation of the hidden tax finally becoming visible. It's the moment some vague problem you might have had in the future becomes a crystal clear piece of information you can do something about right now. All right, so that's the reading tax. But there's another one, a second tax that's maybe even more personal, something we pay pretty much every single day. Let's talk about the listening tax, the cost of not quite hearing everything. Just think about it for a second. We've always kind of given ourselves and each other a pass for not remembering every single detail of a conversation, right? A meeting ends, your memory gets fuzzy, and any confusion that comes later is just, well, that's just being human. Hey, we tried our best, used to be a perfectly acceptable way to operate. But here's the crucial point. That whole good enough attitude has always had a really steep, hidden price. Every single time a detail gets missed, it creates this ripple effect of problems. Someone has to redo their work, a project gets delayed, a commitment is forgotten, trust starts to erode. These are not small things. They have real, actual economic costs. But again, what if we tried our best isn't actually the best we can do anymore? Because now, today, we can preserve those important conversations. We can turn them into a kind of usable, perfect memory. You can get instant summaries, action items, the exact details. All that friction that comes from forgetting, it just kind of disappears. And this right here brings us to the absolute core of this whole idea. Why call it a tax now, more than ever? Well, it's because the baseline, the very definition of what's considered normal, has completely fundamentally shifted under our feet. Okay, this slide, this is pretty much everything. It really captures the big psychological shift. You see, in the old world, when something was hard and you failed, you'd forgive yourself. Of course you would. Reading a 40-page contract is hard. Remembering every detail from an hour-long meeting is hard. But now, in this new world, when something becomes easy and you still fail, well, now you pay for it. It feels less like an accident and a whole lot more like a choice. So let's just define this thing once and for all. The hidden tax. It's the gap. It's the difference between what a normal person can do under pressure, all by themselves, and what that same person plus AI can do under the exact same pressure. That gap, that is where the hidden tax lives now. Look, you don't have to take my word for any of this. The absolute best way to really get this tax is to see it for yourself in your own life. So here's a little challenge. Run a simple audit for just 1 week. It's super simple, I promise. For just 1 week, do 2 things. 1, before you sign or agree to anything, run it past an AI first and ask about fees, penalties, stuff like that. And 2, after any important conversation or meeting, just get a quick AI summary of the decisions and action items. That's it. That's the whole experiment. And the proof you're looking for, it's not going to be on some spreadsheet. The proof will be the words that come out of your own mouth. You'll hear yourself saying things like, "Whoa, I'm glad I caught that," or "I totally would have missed that." These phrases, these are your receipts. This is the real-life proof of the hidden tax you just saved yourself from paying. And that really brings us to the final powerful takeaway here. All those old excuses we used to use, they're starting to sound a little different now, aren't they? "Oh, I didn't read it," or "I forgot what we talked about." It's shifting. It's going from being just a normal human limitation to sounding more and more like a totally avoidable expense. So the question I really want to leave you with is this. The baseline has moved. It has moved a lot. So are your defaults, your old habits of just skimming through things, of only half listening, are they now costing you way more than you think?